There's no seat for you at the wedding, my sister told me after I spent months planning her wedding for free. So I canceled everything and left for a vacation to Japan and watched the entire big day collapse publicly. Hey Reddit! My family always thought I'd drop everything for them. Turns out, they were wrong. Big time. Before I get into how my sister's wedding crashed and burned, let me start from the beginning. My name's Luca Mitchell. I run a company called Prestige Events out of Chicago. We handle big stuff. Corporate events, charity galas, luxury weddings. We've got a solid reputation in the city. Now, my family situation? Let's just say it's complicated. My parents, Carol and David, are the family first type, but with a twist. A few years back, they volunteered me to cover Grandma's 70th, room rental, catering, the works, because you get vendor pricing. It was a few $1,000s. When I pushed back, Mom said, "Family doesn't send invoices." I paid it. Nobody ever brought up reimbursement. My older sister, Olivia, she's their pride and joy. Straight A student, popular, homecoming queen, the kind of kid parents brag about at every dinner party. Me? I was the kid who started working at 16, saved up, built a business, and apparently that makes me the responsible one. So when Olivia got engaged to her boyfriend Ethan last year, guess who got a call 2 days later? Not to be asked, to be told. Ethan's a polite, conflict-avoidant guy, nod and smile, lets Olivia and my parents run point. So in the beginning, he mostly went along with whatever they decided. Luca, my mom said on speakerphone, Olivia's wedding is going to be the event of the year. We were thinking maybe Prestige Events could handle everything. It would be so special since it's family. I already knew what special meant. It meant free. Olivia jumped in right after. Yeah, Luca, it would be amazing. You have all the connections, venues, catering, flowers, everything. It'll be perfect if you're in charge. Notice the wording. Not if you want to. Not if you have time. Just it'll be perfect if you're in charge. I asked about budget, and my mom literally laughed. Oh, sweetheart, it's your sister's wedding. You can't put a price on family memories. Right. Memories apparently cost nothing when your brother owns the business. I didn't argue. At the time, I thought, fine, it's my sister. I can give her the wedding of her dreams. I even figured it might be kind of nice to show what my company could do. Maybe we'd even get some new clients out of it from all the guests seeing our work. So, I got to work. First thing, venue. Anyone in the wedding business knows that's the hardest part. I pulled strings with the Whitmore Mansion in Lake Forest. Historic place, books out over a year in advance. We got it for October. Perfect weather, perfect backdrop. That alone should have told my family this wasn't some small favor. Then catering. I called in a favor with Antonio's, the best Italian catering in the city. Normally, people wait 6 months just to get a tasting appointment. We had a menu locked down in 3 weeks. Flowers. I got Bloom and Vine, the same florist that did arrangements for a governor's inauguration last spring. Lighting and decorations. A designer friend owed me a favor from a corporate gala we pulled off for him. Basically, I stacked this wedding with top-tier vendors. And the hours? Man, I spent whole weekends driving Olivia and my mom to tour venues before we locked down Whitmore. Countless late nights coordinating schedules, deposits, design plans. My own paying clients were easier to deal with because at least they respected deadlines. Olivia would text me at midnight with stuff like, "Do you think blush or dusty rose napkins look better?" And here's the thing. At first, Olivia acted grateful. She'd tell people, "My brother's the best. He's handling everything." But slowly, the tone changed. By summer, she stopped saying thank you at all. It became expected. Like, of course Luca will fix it. Of course Luca will pay for that upgrade. When she needed custom signage because she saw some idea on Instagram, Luca can get it done. My parents were the same way. My dad told me at one point, "It's your sister's big day. Don't nickel and dime family." As if I'd ever asked Olivia for a cent. The part that really got me was when they started making comments like this was my duty. My mom actually said, "Well, you're the successful one. It's only right you help your sister." Help. Like I wasn't single-handedly building this entire event from scratch while running a business full-time. Still, I kept telling myself it was worth it. It's family, right? You do things for family. That's what I thought anyway. By the end of September, everything was lined up. Venue booked, menu finalized, flowers ordered, decor designed. I even got Olivia's dream photographer, the one with 500,000 Instagram followers, by calling in another favor. 7 months of work, probably 20 grand in deposits through my company account. Also, Olivia could have the perfect wedding day. I didn't know it yet, but that was the last time I was going to feel good about any of it. Because 2 weeks before the wedding, everything flipped upside down. And it started with a single text message. The wedding was set for Saturday, October 15th. On Sunday, October 2nd, 13 days out, my parents invited everyone to dinner at their place. Nothing unusual about that. We did family dinners sometimes, usually when my mom wanted to talk about something important. I figured this one was about last-minute wedding details. When I got there, Olivia and Ethan were already sitting at the table with my parents. Everyone looked a little too serious for a normal family dinner. "Hey," I said, sitting down. "What's going on?" My mom cleared her throat like she was about to announce something big. "So, we've been looking at the guest list," she started. Olivia cut in right away. "The venue's tighter than we thought. We had to make some hard choices." I didn't think much of it at first. I assumed they were talking about table arrangements, or maybe cutting some random second cousins. Then Olivia looked straight at me. "We don't have space for you anymore." I actually laughed because I thought she was joking. What does that even mean? Mom chimed in like this was totally reasonable. "Sweetheart, the guest list grew with Ethan's family flying in. They have a lot of relatives. We can't exclude them." I stared at them. "You're telling me, after everything I've done for this wedding, I'm not invited?" Dad shrugged like it was nothing. "It's not personal, Luca. It's just logistics. You live here. Ethan's family is coming from out of state." Olivia nodded like that explained everything. "You get it, right? They'd feel hurt if they couldn't come. You can still help with the vendors and stuff, of course." I blinked at her. "Help with the vendors? You want me to keep working on this wedding I'm not even invited to?" Ethan finally spoke up for the first time. "It's not like you need to be there to do your job." My job. He actually said that. Like I was some hired contractor, not her brother, who just spent months pulling every string I had for free. I leaned back in my chair, trying to process it. "So let me get this straight. I booked the venue. The caterer, the flowers, the entertainment, all of it. And now I'm not welcome at the wedding?" Olivia rolled her eyes like I was overreacting. "It's just one day, Luca. Don't make this about you." That hit me wrong. Make this about me? Olivia, I've spent 7 months making this about you. Thousands of dollars in deposits, hundreds of hours of work. Mom raised her hands like she was the referee here. "Honey, please. It's Olivia's big day. Don't ruin it with drama." I laughed again, but there wasn't anything funny about it. Drama? I'm literally being told I'm not invited to the wedding I built from the ground up. How is that not insane to you? Olivia cut back in, clearly annoyed I wasn't just rolling over. "Look, we just need you to finish the final payments for the florist and the lighting company. After that, you don't have to worry about anything else." I stared at her. "You want me to pay for it too?" She gave this little shrug like, "Yeah, obviously." That's when I felt it click in my head. The months of staying quiet, of telling myself it was worth it because family mattered, of eating costs because I thought I was doing the right thing, gone. I leaned forward on the table. "No, I'm not paying another cent. And if you're serious about uninviting me, I'm done with all of it." Olivia looked shocked, like the thought of me saying no had never crossed her mind. "You can't just quit now. Everything's under your name." "Exactly," I said. That shut her up for a second. Mom jumped in again, her voice sharp now. "Luca, don't be spiteful. This is family. You don't walk away from family." I looked around the table at all of them. Olivia looking annoyed. Ethan smirking like he thought he'd won. My parents glaring at me for not falling in line. "Family?" I said. "Family doesn't use someone for 7 months, then toss them out because some out-of-town uncle needs a chair." Olivia snapped back, "It's my wedding. I get to decide who's there." "Yeah," I said, standing up. "And I get to decide what I'm part of. Good luck with your wedding." I grabbed my jacket and walked out. Nobody stopped me. On the drive home, my phone buzzed 3 times. Mom, then Dad, then Olivia. I didn't answer any of them, because right then, for the first time, I knew exactly where I stood in this family, and I wasn't going to forget it. 3 days after that dinner, I was at my office going through invoices when my phone lit up with Olivia's name. I almost didn't answer, but curiosity won. The second I picked up, she didn't even say hello. "Luca, the string quartet just canceled. The wedding is in 10 days. I need you to find another one." That call snapped me awake. If the quartet could vanish 10 days out, what else was hanging by a thread? That's why, that night, I opened the contract folder and started reading every clause line by line. Her voice was sharp, panicked. I leaned back in my chair. "And why would I do that?" She paused like she didn't hear me right. "Because you're the planner. This is what you do. I can't have a silent ceremony." I kept my tone calm. "Olivia, I'm not your planner anymore. Remember? You made it pretty clear I wasn't part of this wedding." "Oh, come on," she snapped. "Don't be dramatic. Just call one of your people and fix this. Please. No, I said simply. The silence on the other end was long enough that I thought she'd hung up. Then she came back furious. Are you serious right now? You're going to let my wedding fall apart because of some stupid dinner argument? Not an argument, I said. A decision you made. You told me I'm not invited, so I'm out. That includes fixing last-minute problems. She started to say something, but I hung up. I was done. That night, I sat at my desk at home and opened my laptop. I searched flights to Japan. I'd never been, but it always looked incredible. Tokyo's city life, Kyoto's temples, hot springs in Hakone, food markets in Osaka. 2 weeks sounded perfect. I booked the whole thing right then. My departure? The evening before the wedding? While they'd be running around in chaos, I'd be on a plane headed 6,000 miles away. Hotels next. First 3 nights in Tokyo, then Kyoto for the temples and gardens, Hakone for the hot springs, and Osaka to wrap things up with good food and neon lights. I even booked a Mount Fuji day tour. Every reservation confirmed in under an hour. After that, I leaned back and thought about everything tied to this wedding. The vendors, the contracts, the payments. For months, I'd been the one signing everything because Prestige Events handled it all. Olivia never touched a single agreement. I opened my company's shared drive and pulled up every contract. Venue, caterers, florists, lighting, rentals, photography. Each one had my company listed as the client, not Olivia, not my parents. Every single deposit came from my business account. All contracts listed Prestige as the sole client and point of contact, and vendors were contractually barred from contacting third parties about schedule or payment. And right there in black and white, every contract had the same clause. Final payment due 1 week before the event. Failure to pay voids the contract. Deposits refundable to the client on record, which meant me. I checked the calendar. Final payment was due Friday, October 7th at 5 p.m. Central Time. I realized that on Monday, October 3rd, 4 days away. Olivia hadn't paid a dime and clearly expected me to keep covering everything. I realized something as I scrolled through those documents. For months, they'd treated me like free labor. Like my company's reputation, my vendor relationships, my time, my money, none of it mattered. But it did matter. A lot. They thought they were in control because it was Olivia's big day. But on paper, it wasn't her wedding. It was Prestige Events' wedding until those balances were paid. I read through every page carefully just to be sure. The wording was solid. My lawyer friend had helped draft most of these years ago when I first started the company, because in the event world, clients cancel or bail all the time. You protect yourself or you get burned. And right then, looking at those contracts, I knew. If that deadline passed with no payment, I could legally shut the whole thing down and get every deposit refunded. I wasn't even thinking about revenge yet. It was just business. If they weren't paying, the event didn't happen. Simple as that. My phone buzzed again. Mom this time. I'd let it go to voicemail. Then Olivia texted, "Did you call the music people yet? This needs to be fixed tonight." I didn't reply. Instead, I started drafting an email to all vendors, reminding them of the final payment date, as if this were any other client. I kept it professional, polite, no emotion. This is a reminder that the final balance for the Mitchell event on October 15th is due by Friday, October 7th at 5 p.m. Central Time. Per contract terms, failure to pay will result in automatic cancellation and refund of deposits to Prestige Events, LLC. I scheduled it for Tuesday morning, October 4th. The family wanted to treat me like I was just the hired help? Fine, I'd be the hired help. And hired help follows the contract. When I shut my laptop, it was close to midnight. My flight to Japan was booked. My hotels were confirmed. My vendors had been warned. And for the first time in months, I actually felt calm. 3 days passed after I sent the reminder email. Not a word from Olivia or my parents about payments. No one asked questions. No one mentioned money. They probably didn't even read it. I wasn't surprised. My family lives on assumptions. They assumed vendors would just show up because it's Olivia's big day. They assumed I'd cover any bills because Luca's successful. They assumed contracts were just paperwork with no real consequences. Friday, October 7th. I opened my inbox. Payment deadline, 5 p.m. Central Time. At lunch, I checked my business account. Nothing. At 5:30 p.m. CT, the window had officially closed. I gave it an extra hour just in case, then logged in to send the cancellations. First email, Whitmore Mansion. I addressed it to James Patterson, the events manager I'd known for years. Per contract terms, final payment was not received by the deadline. This serves as formal notice to cancel the Mitchell event on October 15th. Please release the date for other clients and process deposit refunds to Prestige Events, LLC. I attached the signed contract, highlighted the payment clause, and hit send. One down. Every vendor got the same professional, neutral email with the same contract attachment. Within 30 minutes, confirmation started rolling in. Whitmore Mansion. Date released. Refund initiated minus the $2,000 date hold per contract. Antonio's Catering. Refund to be processed by Tuesday per terms. Bloom and Vine. Acknowledged. Deposit will be returned within 5 business days. DJ. Non-refundable retainer retained per cancellation terms. One by one, every single piece of Olivia's wedding vanished from existence while she sat at home completely unaware. By 8 p.m., I had confirmations from everyone. $15,800 in deposits were coming back to my business account. The rest was non-refundable. $2,000 venue date hold, $1,200 DJ retainer from before the quartet swap, and $1,000 custom signage design fee, $4,200 total. I leaned back in my chair and looked at the list. Venue, catering, flowers, decor, photography, gone. On paper, Olivia's wedding no longer existed. In 3 days, while Olivia would be scrambling with table charts and hair appointments, I'd be halfway to Japan eating sushi at Narita Airport. Around 9 p.m., my phone rang. Mom. I didn't answer. A text came through right after. Hey, sweetie, just checking if you sent the final payments. Olivia said you were handling it. I stared at the screen for a second, then closed it. She clearly had no idea what just happened. Saturday morning, a week before the wedding, another text. This time from Olivia. Luca, did you confirm the lighting team about the centerpieces? Also, Ethan's mom wants to know the final headcount for catering. I didn't reply, because by then, there was no headcount. There was no catering. There wasn't even a venue. It was almost funny how calm I felt. 7 months of work, thousands locked in, and with a few emails, it all went up in smoke. And I was only out $4,200 in non-refundable costs. Sunday afternoon, Whitmore Mansion called to confirm the refund details. James, the manager, said, "We'll have everything processed this week, Luca." Sorry it didn't work out. I told him no apology was needed. By Monday, the catering company sent over their confirmation too. Deposits returning to my account, no penalties, no disputes. Every vendor handled it professionally because I handled it professionally. Olivia still hadn't said a word about payments. My parents hadn't followed up either. As far as they knew, everything was fine. I pictured Olivia sitting at home flipping through bridal magazines, totally convinced her wedding was running on autopilot because Luca's got it covered. And I realized that was the whole problem. They all thought I'd just keep eating costs, keep solving problems, keep showing up no matter how they treated me. But the second that payment deadline passed, I wasn't the brother doing a favor anymore. I was a business owner closing out a failed project. Tuesday evening, the last confirmation hit. Photography deposit refunded, contract voided. At that point, the refunds were complete. The only money left on the table was the $4,200 in non-refundable items. Olivia's wedding no longer existed anywhere except her imagination, and she still didn't know. The wedding was set for Saturday. By then, I was already gone. My flight to Tokyo left Friday night, October 14th, the evening before the wedding. I boarded, put my phone on airplane mode, and that was it. I wasn't planning to check messages until I landed. While I was somewhere over the Pacific, Olivia, Ethan, my parents, and 150 guests were walking straight into a disaster none of them saw coming. My phone rang Sunday morning, Japan time. It was my cousin Amanda. She never calls me, so I figured something big was up. It was Sunday morning in Tokyo, October 16th, which was still Saturday afternoon in Chicago. "Where are you right now?" she asked the second I picked up. I was sitting in the hotel lobby finishing breakfast. Japan. Why? There was a pause. Wait, so you weren't at the wedding? I laughed once. Wasn't invited, Amanda. That's news to you? Another pause, then her voice changed completely. Oh my God, you have no idea what happened, do you? Clearly not, I said. What went down? That's when she started spilling everything. Apparently, Olivia and her bridesmaids showed up at Whitmore Mansion at 8 a.m. Saturday for hair and makeup. The place was locked. No staff, no decorations, nothing. There was a printed cancellation notice at the staff entrance, but the bridal party came in through the side load-in door and never saw it. She called the venue manager, James Patterson, demanding someone open the doors. He told her calmly the event had been canceled days ago due to non-payment. Olivia went nuclear, Amanda said. Your mom was on the phone screaming at him 5 minutes later, but he wouldn't budge. He kept saying, contract terms, ma'am. Nothing I can do. Then they tried the caterer. Antonio's told them the same thing. No payment, no food, kitchen closed for the weekend. By 10 a.m., there were still no flowers either. Bloom and Vine didn't deliver because the contract was voided. Guests started arriving, Amanda said, laughing like she couldn't believe it herself. People were wandering around the parking lot in suits, asking where to go. Nobody knew what to tell them. Ethan's parents were the first to lose it. They'd flown in from Seattle with half their family. Hotels, flights, everything paid for. Now they were standing in a parking lot in formal clothes with no venue, no food, no music. His mom was yelling at Olivia in front of everyone, Amanda said. Like full-on yelling. His dad kept saying this was embarrassing for the entire family. I could almost picture it. Olivia crying, my mom blaming everyone but herself. My dad trying to order people around like that, was going to open doors magically. By noon, guests realized nothing was happening. Some started leaving to get lunch on their own. Others stayed, hoping it would somehow turn around. Olivia was calling every hotel and event hall in the city, Amanda told me. Like someone's gonna host 150 people on 3 hours' notice in the middle of October. Everything was booked. She was losing her mind. Ethan's parents finally got fed up and left with their relatives. His mom told my mom the whole thing was a joke. His dad said this would never have happened if Ethan had just hired professionals instead of family favors. That's when Ethan started yelling, Amanda said. He was asking Olivia why she didn't check if stuff was paid for. She blamed you, obviously. He said, why would he pay if you kicked him out? They were screaming at each other in the parking lot while guests pretended not to listen. I was sitting there in Tokyo just shaking my head. Months of being treated like free labor. And now it was all unraveling in one afternoon. By 3 o'clock, half the guests were gone, Amanda said. The other half left when it was clear nothing was happening. Your mom kept calling you like you were going to fly in and save the day. It was chaos. I checked my phone while she talked. Dozens of missed calls, voicemails, texts. My mom, my dad, Olivia, even Ethan. All while I was eating ramen and walking through Shinjuku the night before. Amanda wrapped it up with, oh, and Ethan's parents? They told everyone at their hotel this was the most unorganized wedding they'd ever seen. People were talking about it in the lobby this morning. Like, word's already spreading. I thanked her for the update and hung up. While Olivia was screaming in a parking lot and Ethan's family was packing their bags, I spent Sunday visiting Meiji Shrine and walking through Harajuku's streets, eating street food and watching locals do their weekend shopping. The wedding that never happened was officially over. And I didn't feel even a little bit guilty. Sunday evening in Tokyo, I was sitting outside a cafe in Shibuya when my phone rang again. This time it was Olivia. I let it go to voicemail the first 2 times. Third time, I answered. The second I said hello, she was yelling. Do you have any idea what you did to me? Her voice was hoarse, like she'd been crying all day. I didn't do anything, I said calmly. I just didn't pay for your wedding. That's all. You canceled everything, she shouted. The venue, the food, the flowers. You humiliated me in front of everyone. I took a sip of my drink. You uninvited me, Olivia. You made it clear I wasn't part of your wedding. So I removed myself. Simple. You ruined my life, she screamed. Ethan's parents think I'm a joke. They flew in from Seattle for nothing. Everyone's talking about it. That's not my problem, I said. You had months to pay the vendors. You didn't. This was all in writing. None of this should be a surprise. She went silent for a few seconds. When she spoke again, her voice cracked. Ethan left, she said quietly. I didn't answer right away. He called off the wedding, she continued. He said if I could treat my own brother like garbage, what would I do to him one day? He said he's done. I leaned back in my chair. Sounds like he saw the truth then. Olivia started crying harder. You could have fixed this. You could have helped me. I finally got angry then. Help you? I spent 7 months building that wedding for free. You kicked me out, treated me like a wallet, ignored every deadline, then expected me to clean up after you. That's not help, Olivia. That's using someone. She didn't say anything. I didn't ruin your wedding, I said. You did. I just stopped saving you from yourself. She hung up without another word. The calls from my parents started right after that. Mom first. How could you do this to your sister? She snapped. Do what? I asked. Follow a contract? Run my business like a business? You embarrassed her in front of the whole family, she said. People are saying, people, I cut her off, don't matter. What matters is, Olivia thought she could treat me like dirt, and I'd still show up with my checkbook. Those days are over. Dad jumped on the line then, voice raised. You made us all look bad, Luca. All of us. No, I said flatly. Olivia did that herself. I just stopped covering for her. They tried yelling a bit more, but I ended the call. There was nothing left to say. That night in my hotel room, I opened my laptop and started typing. Not a rant, not a personal attack, just the truth. The post was titled, "Family Doesn't Mean Free Labor." I wrote about how I spent months planning a wedding I wasn't even invited to, how my family expected me to bankroll everything while ignoring boundaries, contracts, and basic respect, how people assume family first means you should let them walk all over you. I explained the contracts, the deadlines, the fact that I handled everything professionally, while they treated me like I was disposable. I didn't name anyone directly, but anyone reading between the lines would see the full picture. It took me 2 hours to write. I hit publish before going to bed. By the next afternoon, it had exploded. It got picked up by 2 industry forums and a local business column, which is where a lot of the inquiries came from. Planners and vendors were sharing it as a cautionary tale about boundaries. Hundreds of comments poured in. People sharing their own stories about entitled relatives, family members who expected free work, situations where boundaries didn't exist. Strangers were tagging friends saying, "This is exactly what happened to me last year." Wedding planners, photographers, and caterers left comments like, "This is why we require contracts, family or not." By the time I checked my email, I had 3 new client inquiries waiting. Real clients. Paying clients. People who said they respected how I handled things professionally, despite the personal mess. 2 days later, it was 10 inquiries. Then 17 by the end of the week. Olivia didn't call again. Neither did my parents. Amanda texted me a few updates. Olivia was staying with my parents, barely leaving her room, apparently crying nonstop. Ethan hadn't spoken to her since the wedding day. His parents demanded the engagement ring back. I didn't reply to Amanda's messages. I was in Kyoto by then, walking through Temple Gardens while my phone buzzed with work opportunities instead of family drama. It was weird. For months, everything in my life had revolved around Olivia's wedding. Now it was just gone. No wedding. No fiancé. No endless late-night texts about flowers and lighting and table settings. Instead, I had new clients, new business, and 2 more weeks in Japan. For the first time all year, my life felt like it actually belonged to me again. The week after the wedding disaster, my parents wouldn't leave me alone. Every call was the same. "Your sister is heartbroken," my mom said the first time. "She's staying in her old room. She barely eats. You need to talk to her, Luca." Dad chimed in right after. "You embarrassed this whole family. Do you even care how this looks?" I kept my answers short. "You want to talk about embarrassment? Start with the part where you let her kick me out after 7 months of work." Mom sighed dramatically. "You're her brother. Family forgives family." "Family doesn't use people like ATMs," I said, then hung up. That became the routine. Calls, guilt trips, them trying to make me feel like I burned everything down when all I did was stop paying for it. I stopped picking up after a while. 2 months passed. By then, the blog post had gone semi-viral. Not millions of views, but enough that it reached wedding forums, small business groups, even a few local news sites. I kept getting messages from people saying they went through the same thing with their own families. Prestige events got so many new clients I had to hire an assistant. Then another one. I booked 2 celebrity weddings for the next year, both full price, no discounts, no family favors. Meanwhile, Amanda kept me updated whether I asked or not. "Olivia's still living with your parents," she said one day. "She started therapy. She doesn't go out much. People keep bringing up the wedding whenever they see her." I didn't respond. It wasn't my problem anymore. 3 months after the wedding, Olivia finally called. I almost didn't answer, but curiosity got me again. She didn't sound angry this time, just tired. "Luca," she said, "I need to say something." I stayed quiet. "I was awful to you," she said. "All year. I treated you like free labor, like you didn't matter. And then I blamed you when everything fell apart." I leaned back in my chair. "Took you long enough to notice." "I know," she said quickly. "Therapy's been rough. I keep realizing how entitled I was, how entitled we all were." She went quiet for a second before adding, "I'm sorry. For all of it. For the wedding. For the money. For letting Mom and Dad talk to you like that. For acting like you owed me everything just because we're family." And it didn't feel fake this time. Her voice was shaky in a way I hadn't heard before. Then she said, "I want to pay you back for what you actually lost. The $4,200 in non-refundable deposits and hard costs. I have some savings, and I'm cashing out part of my 401k. It might take me a bit, but I will pay you." I told her the money wasn't the point. "Then what is?" she asked. "Respect," I said. "Boundaries. not treating me like I exist to fix your life. She was quiet again, then said, I get that now. I just hope one day we can be okay. We'll see, I said. But things aren't going back to the way they were. She didn't argue. Over the next few months, Olivia stayed in therapy. She got a job, moved into her own apartment, and stopped letting mom speak for her all the time. Our parents kept trying to push reconciliation, but I didn't rush anything. I told them if Olivia wanted a relationship, it would be on new terms. No more guilt trips. No more obligations dressed up as family favors. They didn't like it, but they didn't have a choice. About 4 months later, mom called out of nowhere. Her voice was quieter than I'd ever heard. Luca, she said, we didn't handle things right. I didn't say anything. We let Olivia walk all over you, she admitted, and we backed her when we shouldn't have. We thought family meant you'd just forgive anything. We were wrong. Dad got on the line then. He didn't do big emotional speeches, but he said, we treated you unfairly. We see that now. It wasn't some long, dramatic apology, but it was the first time they actually admitted it instead of blaming me. I told them things were going to be different moving forward. No more free labor. No more guilt trips dressed up as family values. They agreed. 6 months after the wedding that never happened, I met Olivia for coffee. First time seeing her since everything blew up. She looked different, quieter, like someone who'd been knocked down a few pegs and knew it. We talked for an hour. No yelling, no drama. She told me therapy made her realize she treated everyone like props in her life, especially me. She said she was done living that way. I believed her, cautiously. Before we left, she handed me a check for $2,100, half of the $4,200 I'd eaten. The rest coming next month, she said. I told her I'd apply it to staff overtime and admin to cover those sunk costs, not as personal pay. By then, Prestige Events was busier than ever. The viral blog post ended up being the best marketing I never planned. Brides started telling me they hired us because they wanted a planner who didn't take nonsense from anyone. I had 3 assistants now, a waiting list of clients, and plans to open a second office in Milwaukee by the end of the year. My parents eventually stopped with the guilt trips once they realized I wasn't budging. I visited on holidays, stayed polite, but didn't get dragged back into old patterns. The next spring, I flew back to Japan. This time, it wasn't to escape anything. I spent a week in Kyoto, then down to Osaka, then back to Tokyo for cherry blossom season. One night, sitting under the blooming trees in Ueno Park, I realized it had been almost a year since the wedding chaos. Olivia and I talked sometimes now. Nothing deep, just checking in. She'd kept going to therapy. She paid me back in full. But more importantly, she stopped expecting me to fix her life. Everyone did. For the first time in years, my boundaries were solid. My business was thriving. My family finally understood the word no, and I wasn't giving that up for anybody. YouTube just dropped this new hype feature. If you're hooked on this story, smash that hype button. It tells YouTube this video deserves to blow up, and it keeps even crazier stories coming your way.